Hello, my loves. Welcome back. I almost burned down my apothecary office. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For meeting for the first time, my name is Jessica Alexandria. I'm the creator and head witch behind Bahati Life Apothecary, professional witch, tarot, and intuitive reader. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me once again. If you're old, friends and family, and also welcome to those who are brand new. Guys, this full moon, I already told you it's going to be a doozy. It is. It just is. I have the chart pulled up on my left, and I am also feeling really called to work with the tarot. Tarot is literally home base for me, and it feels always so good to shuffle the cards. I know this is an astrological reading, and with the full moon, of course, we're going to want to dive into the details. Astrologically, what is that we can expect? But today, tarot is really standing out to me, buku, big time. So go ahead and grab some tea, grab some water, or just vibe. Put on your headphones and vibe. We're gonna dive into all of it. Even as I'm talking to you guys, I can feel my nose itching. I just feel like there's something here for us to uncover for this full moon, regardless of the fact that this energy is a bit difficult. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So I have not seen this chart for the full moon since late last year, early this year, when I was writing the guide for 2022. So it's kind of like a trip down memory lane, and it will make my feelings kind of reemerge. Whoop, let's go ahead and dive in. Oh my God, I'm looking at this. Okay, so I have December 7th. Holy shit, it's December 6th. That's tomorrow. I have December 7th for the full moon, 2022. I'm just making sure I have my details correct. And I have the chart pulled for 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's just how I pull my charts. As you guys know, I pull my charts. I don't refer to any outside sources. First things that's standing out to me, a little bit of a problem, from what I can tell, is Mars retrograde is going to be directly conjunct the full moon that's happening in the sign of Gemini. For those of you guys that don't know, Gemini energy connects to communication, information sharing. It does seem like something that you discover at the time of this full moon is going to put a pause on something that is of importance and value for you at this moment in time. Even though there is a pause and a halt here, whatever project you're working on or relationship goals, it's like something acts as a setback after some bit of information or a conversation or a fight kind of derails and moves things in a way that makes things be like, okay, we cannot move past this until we handle this, whether you want to or not. I will say my eyes are naturally drawn to the part of fortune that's falling in the sign of Pisces. Also, Neptune is transiting Pisces. Jupiter is about to exit out of the sign of Pisces. There is a blessing here when it comes to you not reacting immediately. And really trying so hard not to internalize things or be sensitive by what someone is saying, by what something is being said, by what they're saying, and also how things present themselves to you right away. Not only is Neptune, the planet that rules Pisces, and giving its energy into the part of fortune, also Jupiter, not only is Neptune now direct, only recently direct, so there's a little bit of cloudiness and fogginess there, but with the part of fortune and Neptune almost directly aspecting the full moon here, it just goes to show that because this energy is so almost tight, that it will bleed into the energy of what we're going to feel this new moon. And basically it clouds our judgment, and it makes us extra sensitive, extra emotional, and easy to be manipulated if we fall too much into our emotions and our feelings and how we think something is, instead of really pausing to connect with our intuition and pull ourselves out from our emotions, right? So that we don't have an emotional reaction. I will also remind you guys that Saturn, the planet of karma and structure and commitment and restrictions, has been transiting to the sign of Aquarius. So this has been changing our internet. This has been changing our friendship circles. This has been changing our perspective on things. Also, our ability to detach from certain things is exiting out of a square with Uranus, the planet of disruption, who's currently retrograde in the sign of Taurus, which that energy falls into our finances and what's important to us. That energy is still, it's not as intense as it was. It's starting to lighten up, but that energy is still there. So this has a lot to do with many people. I don't want to say that they're at their breaking point, but many people have gone through so much outside of you. And at the base of this reading, we have Judgment. So every single one of us individually has our own stories, our own unique stories to tell, but also our own current experiences that are very important to us. It's not that we can be triggered by certain things. It's just that to many people, many of us may be in a space where we're tired and we can't show up as our quote unquote best selves, because the majority of our best selves were fighting battles that that people may know of or people may not know of. So having said that, it's the energies of Saturn and Uranus, that square, that has been creating a lot of tension and tightness that doesn't just go away overnight. It's something that every single one of us may need time to recover from. Whether this falls in your relationships, or whether this falls in your health or your finances or your resilience, you're going to need a little extra time to bounce back after what you were once resting on and what was something that made you feel safe was already stripped from you and taken from you. And another way I could say this is that it's being rebuilt in a new way, a fresh way, in a way that requires a lot of flexibility. If you're someone who is tight and doesn't like change, it makes it even harder. But if you are someone who likes change, it's a lot of change in a small amount of time, and that change can be frustrating and radical and unexpected, and just it can feel like a bombardment. Let me pause and look at the remainder of the chart and see what else is here. I am seeing a lot of bragging energy, and the ego kind of is leading the way here within the charts, especially if you're someone who deals with your shadow side or is battling your shadow side. Or if you know someone who's been battling their shadow side, it's almost like their ego kind of steps in the mix and says, I know what's best. This is what I want. This is, it's like the ego, someone needs to be checked, or the energy needs to be checked, or it can get you or the relationship into some form of trouble. Also, you guys really need to be careful when it comes to your spending and savings at this time. Just from looking at everything right now, what impacts the collective is going to impact intimate, and what impacts the intimate and personal is going to impact the collective. There's a really strong urge here about spending and investing. If you can save, then I would. If you can capitalize off of opportunity, just make sure, do it, but make sure that it's at a very, very excellent deal, because this is not something that, with finances, this is not finances that lift, the break comes in the next day. There's a lot of tightness when it comes to spending during this time, which clearly makes sense because they're talking a lot about a recession. This is going to be felt all over the world. This has a lot to do with powers that be, people in positions of power having to finally think about the greater good and not just individual. The powers are shifting right now. So where that usually hits is in finances and banks, believe it or not, and money and e-commerce. Why? Because those are the areas that used to put those people in power, that used to fuel them and fund them. Now they're getting hit in those areas, so they can no longer be, have access to those resources. And how does that impact? It ends up trickling down into, everybody. And then they start trying to enforce laws, and it bleeds out. One thing that I will say, and I hope you guys are able to follow along, but in the realms of astrology and spirituality and energy, if there's one area of the chart that's being impacted, it doesn't typically stay in that one area. It kind of bleeds into everything else. Same thing happens within our bodies. Let's say if your physical body is impacted, if you're not feeling well, it can impact your emotional health, which can impact your spiritual health, and then your mental health, all of those things. Everything is always connected. So they talk a lot about balance. This is happening not just in our bodies, but in our world, in our relationships, just everything that you can imagine. It's just how energy moves. So as I'm saying that, we have Queen of Pentacles here. Not only is she known for enjoying the finer things in life, she knows when to buckle down and to reduce spending and to conserve and to stretch things, so that even though life is more simple, it still has a high value and you can still enjoy a certain quality of life. At the time of the full moon, I big time suggest that you set intentions when it comes to spending and money and resources, and making sure that those things are available, making sure that the home, your security are all things that won't be impacted. Whether you're working your magic by lighting a candle or working with oils or praying or writing a petition, I highly recommend at the time of the full moon that you, I don't want to say batten down the hatches and expect the worst. I'm not saying that, but I just want to make sure that every single one of you are going to be able to coast through regardless of what's happening globally, especially when it comes to finances. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is some really wild eruptions, especially dual eruptions, because Gemini works with the twins. So anything involving twin energy, it seems like there's going to be an eruption here or something that's going to cause problems. This could be something as specific as like twin flames or actual twins in your life, to something as far as twin cities or metaphorical speaking. So just look out, or things happening in series of twos. So if there's an eruption with the earth, or if there's earthquakes, look at it in patterns of two at the time of the full moon. It's just, that's just what we can see here. Looking at the charts. The other thing that I want to tell you guys about is at the time of the full moon, Mercury is transiting through the sign of Saturn. As I was just about to say this, and then this card jumped out, Knight of Pentacles. Basically, you want to not emotionally detach yourself, but take a break before you react to certain things, and try not to have this immediate emotional reaction to certain things if you can help it. Mercury in Capricorn will aid you in this. It just pretty much shows how best to maneuver through these energies at this time. If you're matching the energies of these planets, or if you understand the energies of these planets, you can see how things and people are apt to act, like how they're prone to act during this time, which is changing. This is the beauty of astrology and astrologers. So as Mercury is transiting through the sign of Capricorn, just really try not to emotionally overreact and allow things to get trigger you. Or if it does happen, do your best to keep a calm, stoic face and disconnect yourself, separate yourself, and allow yourself to calm down, and then address the situation. It's just going to go longer that way than you getting emotionally triggered and upset visually and triggered by certain things, if you can help it. Easier said than done. I totally understand that. Also remember, okay, I said this at the very, very, very beginning of this reading, flexibility and fluidity and going with the flow these days is so hard, but it's so mandatory. If you are rigid in your ways and you're not willing to adjust, you will start to feel the effects of it, and it'll start to feel like you're being disciplined versus rewarded. So try your best to take things into consideration, hear what is being said, explore all of your options, give it some time, and then not invest, but move accordingly. That's going to help every single one of us a lot, big time. I could go on further about that. I don't want this video to be an hour long. You guys know I can talk. So I just, if I was going to go on a little further than that, the next thing I would talk about is the fact that Chiron is retrograde in the sign of Aries. That's impacting this full moon because it's also trine the sun, but my incense is blowing in my face. But I've talked about Chiron's influence in the sign of Aries and how it's impacting us right now, and even especially as it's retrograde. If you want to, you can go ahead and revisit those past conversations. Let's go ahead and dive into the tarot. So first cards that jump out, man, is exactly what I'm talking about. We have King of Swords. This is about emotional detachment. It's not that you don't feel, because we're human beings. We have feelings. If everything is working and everything is good and you're healthy, you have feelings. It's just that you don't allow your feelings, your emotions to persuade you to act in a way that is outside of what is for your highest and greatest good and from a space of higher wisdom. So you want to disconnect. You want to pull back. 7 of Pentacles and assess, pause and assess. And then you then can move through with clarity. Ace of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, 6 of Swords, and 2 of Pentacles, with deliberate and intentional and clear action. That's going to be the action plan, and that's going to be the best thing to do, especially with the Justice card here. Justice doesn't take into consideration sob stories. It doesn't take into consideration your emotional feelings. It says that these are the facts, and based upon the facts, this is what this is. And the King of Swords is the king of that. He has mastered that. So that's how you want to move. Why am I saying move? Because King of Swords, King masculine energy, is all about how we assert ourselves and how we show up for this world. So having said that, you guys, that's the reading for the full moon. I hope that that helps. Not only is the astrological breakdown, but it's also the tarot and intuitive breakdown. Little less intuition in this video today, but still beneficial nonetheless, I hope. As I'm saying that intention. If you want a personal reading from me, the closest thing that you can get to that at this moment in time is Bahati Love Notes. It's a $5 membership that's available on my website and also on Instagram if you bang with Instagram like that. If not, that's totally fine. Where I do daily readings that are very, very specific. At first they started at like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then they end up being like 5 minutes long. And 7 minutes, 8, 9. It's $5 a month, and it gives you full access to daily readings. Yeah, star card that are very, 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 very healing. Usually they provide a lot of additional guidance for you here on earth. So I hope this reading again makes sense. If you need me, you know where to find me at bahatilife.com. And I'll see you guys in my next video.